President Donald Trump has officially tested positive for COVID-19. And I'm going to be perfectly frank. Let me be the first to say, thank God. Now, I would never want anything terrible to happen to our president. You have to be concerned for a man who's so widely known for his compassion and care for others' well-being. Actually, I'm glad because maybe Trump will finally change his tune, start to take this whole pandemic thing seriously now that it's hit so close to home. Sure, over 200,000 Americans have already died on his watch, the highest death toll of any country in the world. But better late than never, right? Honestly, the president is in his 70s. So all joking aside, I do wish Mr. Trump a speedy recovery. Actually, I'm kind of surprised this didn't happen sooner. With all the rallies he's been having on his campaign trail, I'm a little shocked it took him this long to come in contact with someone who had the virus, especially with his very public strong aversion to wearing masks. Is this really that big a deal? And also his whole believing that the entire pandemic is a Democratic hoax and that it'll just go away. No, Donald, it's not going to just go away. At the first Democratic debates, the president said that his rallies have had no adverse effects. Just another one of his facts that have, in fact, proved not to be true. Only time will tell just how bad the effects of his rallies actually are and just how many people have been personally infected by him and his negligence. As more events come to light, it appears that the president may actually have been aware that he might test positive for COVID-19 before the events of the past week. He, of course, had the debates on Tuesday, he had a rally on Wednesday, he had an event at the Rose Garden to announce his replacement for RBG, and he held a fundraising dinner on Thursday night for $250,000 a pop before he announced on Twitter later that evening that he was positive. There's been detailed contact tracing occurring in the days leading up to his official diagnosis. During these days, he and other infected members of his cabinet can be seen hugging and talking in close proximity to many people, including some young children and elderly members of the public. This is deeply selfish, endangering and in complete disregard for others. I mean, after seeing his tax returns, we all know he needs the money. But to not cancel a fundraising event with his own supporters? That's just honestly so despicable, even for Trump. I just want to say I think it's really hilarious that in his first video before he went to Walter Reed, he talked about how he's doing well and the First Lady Melania is doing well. He doesn't know how the hell Melania is doing. He went to Walter Reed and Melania, by the White House's own public statement, stayed at the White House. That means that Melania hates Trump so much, she was like, I'd rather you go to the hospital. I'll stay here at home and deal with this deadly virus on my own. Thank you. Of course, it's hard to believe any of the lies or know what the truth is. Trump's own doctor flubbed the details. It appears that he may have tested positive Wednesday night and still insisted on just living his life and continuing with his events Thursday instead of quarantining. I feel so bad for the people that paid $250,000 to possibly get infected with COVID. Because Trump is so selfish. Trump's event in the Rose Garden, when he announced RBG's replacement, may actually now classify him officially as a super spreader. More people have been diagnosed with COVID-19 in Trump's cabinet in the last few days than New Zealand, Australia, Taiwan, Thailand, and Vietnam combined. I mean, we already knew that Trump was a sick guy, but this gives a whole new meaning. So, what does this mean for the election? All of Trump's rallies and events have been temporarily postponed pending his health condition. At least the debates at the time of this video are still on. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if Trump somehow tries to blame his poor performance at the first presidential debates on the fact that he was already feeling weak from COVID when he was on stage. Maybe his good old Proud Boys can bring him their homemade COVID vaccine. Bleach and burgers. He didn't even tell Biden's campaign that he was sick until he announced it on Twitter. The guy was yelling and spitting like 12 feet from the guy. I really hope that Trump doesn't somehow use this sickness to try and postpone the election. I mean, I have compassion for the guy, but whether he's sick or not, the world doesn't get to be put on pause. You know that if Biden got COVID-19, Trump would insist on the election going forward. I also wouldn't put it past Trump to pull a Jean-Ralphio and try and fake his own death for the insurance money. Again, we all know how much debt he has. Honestly, I wouldn't even put it past Trump at this point to be lying about this entire thing, just for the publicity. Try and create some image like he's some strong guy that can just fight off COVID. I mean, his doctors have already been super evasive and directly lied about whether he was on oxygen or not. On Saturday, the doctor said that he hadn't been treated for oxygen Friday, and then later said that he was treated for oxygen Friday, and also retracted that he was diagnosed Wednesday. So, who knows? And the drugs he's on, remdesivir and dexamethasone? For those of you that don't know, dexamethasone is a steroid and has some common side effects such as confusion, delirium, mania, irritability, mood swings, and feelings of grandiosity. Do we know if Trump wasn't already on dexamethasone? The president of the free world, the most powerful man on the planet, should not be on this drug. I'm sorry. The White House coming out and publicly admitting that he's on this drug either means that his immune system was so compromised that he needed to be on the drug, or, which directly conflicts what they said about Trump's health, or it means that if Trump is in good health, his immune system could be at risk because it's been said that dextromethasone can actually have an adverse effect on people with healthy immune systems. And the photos he released of him doing work while he was at Walter Reed, he's signing a blank piece of paper with a Sharpie. These photos were obviously staged. Even more so, his tweet Monday when he announced that he was leaving the hospital is so out of touch from the average American. He thinks that just every person can have an entire team of doctors treating them with experimental drugs that no one else on the planet has access to. So obviously, anyone that dies of COVID-19 or doesn't feel 20 years younger was obviously just too weak. But don't let it dominate your life. I swear to God, all of this could be Trump's way of just getting out of the next debates, avoiding another public embarrassment, since we all saw how badly he failed at the first debates.
Mr. President, can you
I don't
stop?
think I can stop talking.
Mr. President, can you
I don't
stop?
think I can stop talking. Maybe he's even just trying to pull in some sympathy points because people feel bad that he's sick. Honestly, I pray to God that Trump pulls through this and doesn't die from COVID, because then he's only going to go out a martyr, and we'll have a whole army of white supremacists trying to seek revenge for the president that died from his own negligence. In case you didn't already know, because apparently Trump didn't know until it affected him personally, coronavirus is real. We all have to wear masks. We all have to take this thing seriously. Fact checking has to happen, because spreading misinformation can not only be dangerous, it can be deadly. Do your homework, wash your hands, get registered to vote, and make sure your voice gets heard, because our country can't continue down this path. I'm just being perfectly frank. I love you guys. Thanks for watching. I think we could all use a hug right now. Wouldn't that be funny if my mic wasn't on?